Welcome to the worst financial mistakes in the Bible and how you can avoid them. In this session, chapter 12, we're going to cover the topic of self-indulgence. This is a very subtle trap because most of us can justify anything that we want to do. I know in my own life, the mistake I made was taking something that was really a want and calling it a need. Everything became a need, so I began to self-justify an ever-increasing lifestyle. Now, I want to take the lesson from Luke chapter 16, from the famous story of the rich man and Lazarus. You know, it's really interesting how simply he's described. It basically says that there was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen, and he lived in luxury every day. That's all we know about him. But one more important thing to give a contrast to the choices this man made. Outside his gate was a man named Lazarus who was covered with sores, who was so hungry he was longing to eat the scraps from the rich man's table. And he was so sick that dogs were coming to lick his wounds. My wife likes to say that this man is the picture of insignificance. Nobody cared about him. There was nobody there to help him. Nobody surrounding him to offer him aid. Just the rich man. And he was just outside the rich man's gate. But the rich man was preoccupied with his own indulgent lifestyle. You know the moral of this story? Very early on, the Lord is telling us our choices matter. Choices make a big difference. So let's talk just a moment about our lifestyle choices. A friend of mine once said, the greatest addiction in America is our addiction to pleasure and comfort. And he told me, I've had lots of addictions in my life, but none are harder to break than my personal desire to indulge the flesh. I want to do what I want to do. And it grows over time. Listen to what Solomon said about this. In Ecclesiastes chapter 5, Solomon said, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. Now, most of us watching right now, wherever you are, would say, oh, that hasn't happened to me. But do you realize we start out in life with very basic things and we're excited about them? We start out with a basic watch. Maybe it's a little simple plastic watch with a digital face, and it keeps time perfectly. And then we walk by that store and we look and see the very fancy Swiss-made watch, and we think, wow, I have the money now, I can upgrade to that. And we go from the basic watch that tells the same time as the fancy Swiss, designer watch. And we start to upgrade in every area of our life. And this has happened in America. In the 1900s, we were a culture with very little houses and great big families. You know what we are today? We're a culture with great big houses and very little families. We've started to invert our priorities. Our lifestyle choices have changed, and we've become a self-indulgent culture. You know, the first step towards decay of a society is when people become self-indulgent. They forget about the needs of those around them. And there are great consequences to this. The Lord said to the rich man, and I want you to think about these words. The Lord said, remember that in your lifetime you had your good things. Those are words I hope I never hear. Can you imagine getting to heaven and hearing those words? You've already had your good things. You chose the pleasures of the world over serving my purposes. It's over. In fact, the irony of this story is that the man who appeared so insignificant, Lazarus, ended up being greeted and welcomed into paradise by Abraham, the most significant man in the faith. He was the patriarch of the faith. And Abraham greeted him into paradise. The rich man had no name, and he was cast into hell. Their fortunes were reversed. And guess who was asking for help? The rich man was calling out from hell to send Lazarus to help him. You see, the irony of this is that we think our lifestyle choices don't matter. But God is clearly saying right now to all of us, they do matter. And it matters that we pay attention to those around us. So how do we avoid the trap of self-indulgence? Let me give you one more scripture that's in our book. For we brought nothing into this world, and we take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. You know what Paul is saying? Face reality. Face reality. Don't be self-indulgent now, because you're not going to take anything with you. Job said it this way, naked I came and naked I will depart. Blessed be the name of the Lord. There's no reason to try to satisfy our flesh and our desires in this world, because they're not going to last. We're all like grass. We're all like a flower. We wither and we fade. And the second way is to open your eyes to the needs around you. Be aware that outside our gate is a Lazarus. And God is asking us, are you going to care for him? Are you going to help that person, that family, that child, that immigrant, that refugee, that orphan, that widow, that alien, that prisoner? Those are the people I want you to help. Are you going to do it? Or are you going to continue to choose your own selfish desires? So to summarize, the trap is self-indulgence, and we must open our eyes to the needs around us. Don't be like the rich man. There's a Lazarus waiting for your help.